Good evening. This is Maestro with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today, we have a 1v1 from the Elite League Series Division B. I've cast a few Division A games, so I think it's about time we gave Division B a little love. Our first player is going to be LOCALgHOST. He is playing, I know it just says Ghost, but it's LOCALgHOST. He is playing as the Apothecary, Space Marine hero, who can get a ranged weapon, but also has melee weapons, and he can heal. His opponent will be Icesinithol, playing as the Plague Champion. Ranged hero to start out, can get melee weapons, can also heal and repair. And our map to begin is Outer Reaches. It's been a really long time since I've seen this map. Classic map, stock map even. I think pretty unique for the way the center area is walled off from many different directions, and that can definitely create some tricky retreat paths depending on how your engagement goes. And as we take a look at how our matchup is going, we got very, very standard builds out of both of our players, with the double scout out of LOCALgHOST, because it might just be easier to call him Ghost, and the double heretic out of Icesinithol. A little variation where Icesinithol gets the second heretic out before the Chaos Space Marine squad. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think it makes a huge difference either way, but since the heretic squad is cheaper, you theoretically and practically most times just get it out on the field faster, which also means that you can possibly get resource points just a little bit faster, but I really think we're like splitting hairs here. Anyway, engagement does not go well there for the heretics, and that is something that I think is a little bit trickier for heretics in this matchup against the Apothecary. Tier 1 heretics, as opposed to, Tier 3 heretics. Heretics without an aspiring champion are very, very squishy, and if they're engaging tactical marines when they don't have all of their health, and especially if there's an Apothecary who can just heal up the damage that the heretics might do, heretics can be quite a lot less threatening to tactical marines in this matchup. It's not like Howling Banshees where you really have to respect the special attack possibility. Heretics are good, but they're not quite that threatening, so I think that's something, a really strong thing that the Apothecary has in his favor in this matchup. Not necessarily saying that the overall matchup favors him. I'm not really sure, to be honest. However, we are seeing kind of a good start here. Ooh, not enough energy for a heal this time. Can he actually finish a model on retreat? Might just get barely lucky, and even though there was no active heal ready because there wasn't enough energy, there still was some support coming from the passive heal aura that the Apothecary provides. That's where you just see those little green hexagons around just nearby squads. Heretics getting in quite a lot of trouble, so they're having a little bit of trouble actually doing work in this matchup. And LOCALgHOST has actually been pretty aggressive in terms of actually making basically an assault on Icesinithol's natural power and natural victory point. LOCALgHOST actually does have a triple cap. Now, one thing he doesn't have any longer is a second scout squad, so at some point in there, I guess he stayed in there just a little bit too long, and he did lose the scout squad, so that could set him back a little bit. Shotgun scouts, I don't know, maybe looking for another generator bash. So LOCALgHOST, with control of most of the map, at some point should start going back in favor of Icesinithol. Theoretically, he does have now 4 squads. LOCALgHOST only has 2 because he lost one, and he's about to replace them with some Assault Marines, so going to be jump units on both sides. Often has been, an ongoing debate. I don't even know it's been in debate, but, we just have very similar jump units, the Raptors and the Assault Squad, with some minor differences between them, although maybe not so minor in terms of how things actually work out. Raptors doing suppression, whereas Assault Marines doing knockback. Raptor jump costs just a little bit more than the Assault Marine jump. That's actually probably the big one, because Assault Marines, especially at lower levels, not levels of play, but lower, like, squad levels, are more able to jump repeatedly by waiting to get their energy back. The regaining of map control seems a little bit slow for Icesinithol, kind of blobbing up a lot of his units right here. I don't know, maybe just preparing for an engagement. But I feel like maybe one of these heretic squads could be trying to maybe get a backup on this power, but it's going to be full-on engage. Chaos Space Marine's not quite in the fight, though. And the Flamer is going to make short work of the Heretics, and especially if we do actually see this Purification Vial go in. Oh, yeah, it did go in. I'm totally blind. Missed that big, green blob all over my screen. So it's actually looking really rough for Icesinithol. He didn't even get back the map, despite having the numerical advantage in terms of units. He did get the victory point, but LOCALgHOST still does actually control more of the map. And it does look like the way LOCALgHOST is going to play this, he's probably going to make a rush for the power. He has a Flamer. It's pretty much the hardest punish that he is capable of, I think. Just the potential tech disadvantage you could put your opponent at by bashing their power farm, especially with something that can bash it quite quickly, like a Flamer. I think is just the strongest punishment you can get out here, more so than even capturing the rest of those points on the map. So Heretic's just going to walk in quite raw, doesn't even wait for the Raptor approach. However, the Tactical Marines were not really targeting the Heretics. Purification Vials go in, however, one Assault Marine model is lost. Raptors will jump in as well. They're actually kind of low on health, low-ish, considering they're going to be jumping into basically 4 different Space Marine units. No models have been lost yet on the Raptors, and here is the support. Now, Purification Vials have already gone out. Raptors are low. But Heretics are even lower. And this might be the end of the Heretics. Realistically, it should be. Oh, and finishing off with a sync kill, too. That is pretty rough. So not only that, but between the 2 Heretic squads that Icesinithol had, he lost the one that had the Aspiring Champion, which is quite a bit rougher than losing the one that doesn't. And Scout Grenade goes in. Hits, just barely hits there, but LOCALgHOST is really just kind of forcing his will here, even going for a second Assault Marine squad, while Icesinithol goes for replacing his Heretic squad. This is actually looking real bad for Icesinithol. Even with that scout loss that LOCALgHOST suffered, the generator bashing and the control that he has over the map is just creating such an advantage for him. He'll get the decap. Response from Icesinithol is a bit slow. That is also kind of one of the disadvantages of the Plague Champion, in that he is himself very slow, and unlike, say, the Chaos Lord, he doesn't offer any mobility to the rest of his army. Doesn't have the ability to teleport like the Sorcerer, which can sometimes help his mobility. Assault Marines will jump in. They actually do kind of jump in on the Heretics, but then the Heretics have to deal with the Purification Vials. Man, that is something that is, at least specifically against Heretics, it is so powerful. It would be really nice if he could try to get a wipe on the Apothecary. Does not even attempt it. I mean, I'm not 100% sure about it, but I wondered if there was melee from the Raptors, as well as the Chaos Space Marines and the Plague Champion. I wonder if it might have been possible. Although perhaps it wouldn't have been that strong. Would have been an easy... No, wait, Laraman's Blessing... certainly has the red for Laraman's Blessing. Although LOCALgHOST not... Oh, LOCALgHOST is kind of floating resources. Only just now upgrades to Tier 2, so he is running behind. But, I mean, one of the big elephants in the room is the power income difference. 64, that's basically LOCALgHOST. He's got the full power farm, got a contested node that has a node on it, and then he has another contested node with no node on it. Yeah, I mean, this is a game that's pretty quickly just spiraling out of control for Icesinithol. I'm not entirely sure what he's going to do about this, or what he can do about this. Both players going to Tier 2. I mean, I don't know. Like, his power income is so low. Like, it's... And he can't... He can't maintain a power income anywhere. So we're going to see... Oh, started switching to the stimulants, which I believe would replace the Purification Vials. It's been a long time since I've seen combat stimulants. Whereas Purification Vials, I've seen a lot of recent value out of that. I mean, even in just this game alone. Wants to upgrade to the Power Axe, but he isn't in Tier 2 yet. Plague Champion, meanwhile, no upgrades on him. The double Assault Marines. At this time, just I don't actually feel like Icesinithol is having an easy time dealing with the double Assault Marines. He's got the Heretics, but a lot of the counter-initiation from the Heretics is not going well because the Apothecary is counter-initiating on the counter-initiation with the Purification Valves. There's going to be some more Purification Valves go out. And then the Assault Marines, I forget, I'm not 100% sure if the... I forget if the Purification Valves actually do friendly damage, and the truth is, even if they do, the Assault Marines can actually just kind of tank it because they're that much tankier compared to those Heretics. So Icesinithol choosing to go Bloodletters. And here's going to be a Noxious Cloud to try to help him out in this fight, but it's countered by the Angels of Death. Oh, man. That's actually very well played from LOCALgHOST. Yeah, I mean, that's basically a wasted Noxious Cloud. Like, at best, it's something where you kind of, like, just trade... You both spent red, so at least if you spent red, then you got your opponent to spend red, but it was definitely a better red expenditure for LOCALgHOST because it very much won him that engagement, rendered the Noxious Cloud almost useless, effectively useless, and he gets to stay out on the field and maintain his pressure. Assault Marines stay in there just a little bit too long, though, but it doesn't look like the Bloodletters will be able to punish it. So this game is still going. Victory points, I mean, it's a 1-1 right now. Icesinithol actually about to get a double cap. And strange to see LOCALgHOST get that Librarian. What I don't like about the Librarian, I think the Librarian does have the potential to get overwhelmed by Heretics and especially the Bloodletters. Bloodletters can also knock him over, do a special attack, and that can really threaten to wipe the Librarian. But I think the more important point I want to make here is that LOCALgHOST, I feel like, should know that he's got a very big tech lead, and I think you really should have put out a vehicle. I think a Razorback would have been the better choice. Yeah, the Razorback would have been great here. I think that would... I mean, if we're really clear, I think either a Razorback or a Dreadnought probably would have done well, but I think the Razorback would have done better. It would just allow LOCALgHOST to just move around the map and kite Icesinithol. Icesinithol would have nothing to deal with the Razorback at the moment. The best I can say about the Librarian is that it's also good for... I mean, it does, of course, have synergy with the Assault Marines with Veil of Time. You also get the Smite, just another way to nuke the Heretics, make them useless as counter-initiation against the Assault Marines. And the Bloodletters here... Oh my... Touch of Nurgle? Oh no! Touch of Nurgle on the Bloodletters. That's not a good one. If anything, I was going to say Phase Shift to not lose a model. No. I'm not feeling this engagement for Icesinithol. One squad of Heretics already gone. And the armor of the Apothecary coming out of LOCALgHOST, though he doesn't actually have much energy to keep that going for a while. Don't think it matters, though. I think this is more or less LOCALgHOST winning this game here. I really can't see Icesinithol staying in this game much longer. Loses the Plague Champion. Although he has such a big requisition float that he can afford to actually just buy the Plague Champion back. I don't think there will be even that much avail to it. So, and I mean, there are definitely certain choices that I don't like here. I think Icesinithol, with the heavy Assault Marine build, I think Icesinithol should have gone for a melee Plague Champion. It's kind of moot in the end because I think there are also deeper-rooted reasons for why he lost that don't have anything to do with like war gear choices. I think it was more just how LOCALgHOST put on his pressure and microed or maybe even macroed around the map. I mean, he basically controls the entire map, and he basically did for the entire game. So that will be LOCALgHOST going up 1-0 in this series. Let's move on to Game 2. We'll check the scores first, though. Game number 2 is going to take place on Green Tooth Jungle Redux Fixed. I think that is actually the full name of this map. Anyway, first player, LOCALgHOST, this time going to be on the Techmarine, shooty Space Marine ranged hero with a gun for every occasion and the ability to repair vehicles. His opponent, Icesinithol, down one game in the series, this time going to be playing as the Chaos Lord, tanky, durable, destructive melee hero who walks through cover and cannot be suppressed. So, similar builds going on, at least at the moment. Icesinithol with those double heretics into the 1 CSM. LOCALgHOST, though, at the moment, seemingly holding a second scout purchase, so it's more likely than we will see him get a tier 1.5 unit instead of a second heretic. Sorry, instead of a second scout. Whether that will be a Devastator or an Assault Marine, not really sure. Really could go either way. Obviously, the Techmarine doesn't quite have the inherent synergy with the Assault Marines that the Force Commander or the Apothecary has, but they're still definitely not bad at all with him. If anything, I would say they're definitely still pretty good with him. They're still good, period, with him. But I would say it's more common with the Techmarine compared to the Force Commander or the Apothecary that you might see more Devastator-oriented builds. Tactical Marine Squad does need to get out of here. Now, compared to that last match, so obviously some of the things that were strongly in favor of LOCALgHOST he won't have available here. He won't have things like Purification Vials, won't be able to heal up his Tactical Marines so that they can trade favorably against the Heretics. But Techmarine does offer some other options that can work pretty well. High-powered shot from the Mastercrafted Bolter, can also get the Bionics War Gear, and that powerful sweep can also make short work of Heretics as well. Not quite sure where the Techmarine is going here. I guess trying to support the Scouts. I don't think this is actually going to work out. He's taking a lot of range damage. He's going to get pretty low enough. He's trying to put pressure on the Heretics. So it does mean one squad of Heretics does need to retreat, but it also does just end up being a retreat from the Techmarine. And we do see power was put down, so that power being put down, okay, he just bought a Devastator Marine squad. I was actually going to predict that he was going to get an Assault Marine squad, and now actually switches it to a Scout? That's weird. I mean, that looks to me like indecision about his build rather than actually like a more planned or purposeful build. Of course, we could spin it more positively and say maybe adaptation, but I mean, he started the Devastator Marine squad, and at least whether it was a Devastator or an Assault Marine squad, it made sense given that he delayed the second Scout and put down power first. But if you're just going to get a second Scout, then you just get the second Scout before you even put down the power, because you can get it out pretty fast. So I do think this is something that actually does potentially set LOCALgHOST back a bit, that he's only just now getting a second Scout, which means if he was going to get a second Scout all along, he could have had way better map control for like the past few minutes, or basically the entire game as it has progressed so far. And we see the Raptors coming out from Icesinithol again. Interesting to see going Raptors both games, preferring that. I mean, we don't have any Assault Marines yet from LOCALgHOST. Now, what is problematic about going Raptors for Chaos in Tier 1 as opposed to going something like a Havoc is that you are getting a unit that doesn't as easily transition into AV, at least not in Tier 2, whereas Havocs usually provide a little bit more of that. But of course, in terms of how they actually fight, right now compositionally, the Chaos Raptors actually will be way better than a Havoc, with obviously just the ranged heavy army from LOCALgHOST. So this time it's LOCALgHOST who is finding himself kind of being pushed around, trying to deal with this Chaos Lord. Chaos Lord, though, I think he's going to start focused down. You need some support. That Chaos Lord, what he's doing more here, which I often talk about, is more so than doing damage himself, he's drawing attention for, and then he kind of paves the way for those Raptors to jump in. The Raptors really carry more of the threat because they do more actual damage than the Chaos Lord, at least in Tier 1. And here comes the further support from the Chaos Space Marines. Meanwhile, Techmarine, no upgrades, and still... Oh, wow. Going... Scout, Tac, Scout, Tier 2. Now, this is a risky play from LOCALgHOST. We already see what this is costing him in terms of the map, that he at the moment does not really have an army that is that can really adequately fight Icesinithol. It would need to take some major outplays for him to win a fight or catch Icesinithol with his units just split up in bad positions. Could see a grenade on retreat here. A little bit slow. Nope. I don't actually, their energy has been somewhat depleted, so I don't know if maybe they used it somewhat recently and it was still on cooldown. Okay, double cap will soon go to LOCALgHOST. I don't think the Raptors or the Chaos Lord will get in time to stop it, so at least LOCALgHOST will start ticking VPs back in his favor. But I do feel that he's kind of giving some of this. He's kind of giving at least some of this game. Obviously, the game's not over yet, but I feel like going with only that small Tier 1 build, no Tier 1.5 unit, I feel does make it a little bit easier for Icesinithol to take a lead in this match. Now, Icesinithol does have the double cap against him, but he has the overall victory point lead, although that could start to change with the impending triple cap from LOCALgHOST. Now, I think Icesinithol, I mean, one of the things that he's definitely struggling with, which it can be a challenge, and I do feel more so with Chaos, is that he does have his units very bunched up because he wants to be able to actually win a fight. He's not doing so hot on map control at the moment. He's approaching with the Heretics. They will get either shotgun blasters or a grenade. It will be a shotgun blast, and they actually just take so much damage that that's about all the Heretics can do in this engagement. And a little bit surprising to see him do that. I guess just hoping he could try to get some value out of these Heretics, but both of these Heretic squads are not actually achieving that much, and this one actually probably going to go down. If he okay, he does not get them out of there alive. So I didn't call it out, but we do see an Axe of the Mechanicum upgrade from LOCALgHOST. So Axe of the Mechanicum, melee weapon for the Techmarine, exclusive to the Elite mod. Drains 15 energy on hit and increases the Techmarine's melee skill. Does do power melee damage. Now, in spite of everything, it overall still ends up being a one fight for Icesinithol. Victory points, though, have been evened up over the course of that fight. But Icesinithol will take advantage of that one engagement to, at the very least, get a double cap. Icesinithol actually a little bit behind in tech. And this is also something where I'm a little concerned about seeing this from LOCALgHOST, where he has... he may have over-invested in generators. He has a plus 89 generator income. He has over 200 power. I mean, I guess at this point, he's basically waiting for a Dreadnought. Yeah, and he was basically at a point... And look at that. After starting the Dreadnought, he has 100 power left over. So a little over-investing in the power, whereas like a better balance of that would have resulted in like a better timing, where both the power and requisition income are closer to actually coinciding with the corresponding costs for the Dreadnought. So Dreadnought will come out, and this is something, although Icesinithol certainly looking a lot better in this game, and the Tier 2 rush did mean that LOCALgHOST was giving up some map control, he's now in a pretty strong position. Dreadnought will come out. If Icesinithol is really lucky, which I don't think he will be, he'll see the Dreadnought and then cancel the Bloodletters. But I don't think there's enough time for that. Like, I think the Bloodletters will finish before the Dreadnought comes out on the field. And the reason why I say this is that Icesinithol very much committing to a composition that has almost no anti-vehicle capabilities. Very, very close to zero. So you are in quite a bit of trouble when your best anti-vehicle is literally Bloodletters. Bloodletters, because their Hellblades do power melee. They have better chance. They will do a bit more damage than the Raptors, who mostly do regular melee. Chaos Lord at the moment he can't do anything about this Dreadnought. Even with his upgraded weapons, he's not great at it. So we will eventually see the Havoc. And this is part of why there are other times when you will see Havocs come earlier in Chaos compositions instead of waiting until Tier 2. Because this Havoc is very responsive. He did have to kind of give up a power farm for it. Although I don't know if he had the whole thing farmed up.
Issuing new weapon loadout.
Local Ghost looking to come back out on the field. Dreadnought has no upgrades. At the moment, I honestly think an assault cannon would be better. I think the argument against the assault cannon is that with a melee Dreadnought very much actually hard counters the Bloodletters, despite what I said about them being a good source of damage against the Dreadnought. We also have the Tzeentch Chaos Space Marines who do some very, very light damage against the Dreadnought. So Dreadnought coming in here, using the Flamer to bash generators, not actually bad at it at all. Okay, Havoc will open fire, but it's only right on the edge of the firing arc. Dreadnought should be able to get around it, knocking over the walls that actually could block line of sight, but I think it does eventually get out of there soon. Oh my, a turret. I think now the las cannon should actually retarget for the turret. Although I'm not sure if he has line of sight of it anymore. Like, stop targeting the Dreadnought and actually just target the turret. Yeah, there we go. Turret will actually be finished off pretty quickly. Oh no, he's still not he's mistargeting. Unfortunately, it's hitting the Assault Marines. Like, he really... Yeah. I think there it might even be that the Chaos Lord is sighting for the turret. Because the las cannon will very much out-DPS the repairs of the Techmarine or the Scouts. So that turret never had much chance to last long, unless Local Ghost was going to be a little bit more aggressive about disrupting the Havoc. And in fact, at the moment, he's doing absolutely nothing about the Havoc. All right, soon Grenade's going to go in. So there is something done about the Havoc. It is in time to, at the very least, save the Dreadnought, although a little bit late. Bloodletters coming in will overwhelm the Scouts. Don't have the energy for a Shotgun Blast, I don't think. And this actually should be the end of the Dreadnought. Okay, Dreadnought is ended. So double cap for Icesinithol was actually able to reset up his Havocs. Okay, so Local Ghost actually doesn't have much of an army, and strangely he's going to tier 3. I mean, I guess he does have the resources where he actually would not be too far away to getting like a Predator. I think that's the main thing he would be able to get at this point. He wouldn't be too far away from it, given his income. But I mean, the massive power income that he has is like, it's like almost unnecessary. I mean, I guess it's better to have resources than to not have them, but...
The enemy is capturing one of our victory points.
So Local Ghost, again, going into tier 3. His army is rather small at the moment. Icesinithol is quite a bit bigger. Icesinithol struggling so much on power income at the moment, though. Just things have worked out for Local Ghost getting power bashes, and yet not managing his fights as well. Icesinithol definitely has had the better end of how he's microing and making decisions in fights. So, Chaos Lord is upgraded. Mantle of Hate and the Lightning Claws. Those Lightning Claws, obviously 100 DPS power melee. One of the highest stats for a commander melee weapon. I think it's the second highest behind the Hive Tyrant's weapon, which I believe is the Rending Claws. Power melee, however, does mean it's not really great against vehicles. I forget what the modifier is against vehicles, though. I forget if it's 20% or 30%. So actually not too bad, considering, actually compared to some heavy melee weapons. I'll have to double check that one, though. Assault Marines get their jump, suppress the Scouts, while another engagement happens right here, but Techmarine does have the Refractor Field. He's going to be very good, especially with these upgrades. He would definitely be very good against heretics. Destructive Strike coming out of that Chaos Lord. This is an ability that I've known about since forever, and yet I almost feel like I don't see enough of this ability, this Destructive Strike. I feel like I want to do some more tests on that. Okay, looks like... Now, Icesinithol getting a power bash at this point, it's actually very much a moot point. At least in terms of disrupting power income. Still a plus 79 for Local Ghost. 460 power banked. Now, I mean, the best this does for Icesinithol is just to help him generate some red. That's literally the best thing it does at the moment. One thing I actually would like to see from him that I'm pretty sure he hasn't done with whatever red he's generating is try to seal out the game with some Bloodlust plays. Bloodlust, especially because he's stuck in Tier 2 as well. Bloodlust is a Tier 2 global for the Plague Champion. It increases the damage of your army as they continue to attack. Melee attacks increase the damage more than ranged attacks, but both of them work. So double cap for Icesinithol, soon to be a 2-to-1. Scouts will have to get out off the field. Do lose one of their models in retreat, but they ultimately get out of there. Yet another generator bash. Bloodlust would actually be great at this point. In fact, what is Local Ghost going for? Is he going for a Land Raider? Is he going for Terminators? He's way too far off to get Terminators. He absolutely does not have the time for that. Like at this point, he might actually be getting up to the resources for a Land Raider Redeemer soon, but he might also be running out of time for that. Like, it's about to be a triple cap for Icesinithol. Okay, finally makes his choice. What is it? Where I must have... Oh, it's the Venerable Dreadnought. Where's the Venerable Dreadnought? There it is. Okay, so he makes it a Ven Dread. Venerable Dread might actually finish off the Havocs, which actually would be pretty bad for Icesinithol. It's basically his only source of anti-vehicle damage taken out by this new vehicle. Icesinithol still has no power. Okay, but, I mean, Icesinithol actually isn't exactly spending a whole lot at the moment. It's going to be very important for him for the remainder of this game to control his bleed. If Local Ghost is at some point able to stall out the victory points. Does look like he'll be able to decap this one. Even this is not working out. This might actually just be the game in favor of Icesinithol. Might not even need those Bloodlust plays. And finally activates the Bloodlust. Yeah, I think Bloodlust there, with the red that Icesinithol has stored up, I think Bloodlust there is basically just checkmate. Like, any further fights, just activate Bloodlust, and I think it's just straight up a one fight for Icesinithol. So this victory point might be taken back, but again, it's another one of those kind of a moot point, because I think we are now at the point of no return, and I think this is just the game in favor of Icesinithol. I forgot about the Ven Dread when I was trying to consider 2 or 3 options. I still don't even know if I like the Venerable Dreadnought. Not in general, but in this game. Okay, so the series will actually be tied up. Icesinithol putting a point on the board, and we will go to our last match in the series. Alright, Game 3 of our Best of 3 series from Division B of the Elite League between these two players will take place on Calderis Refinery. Our first player, Local Ghost. This time, he's just going ride or die with the Space Marines. He will be playing the last Space Marine hero, that being the Force Commander. This tanky melee hero who can use Battle Cry to both buff and disrupt. But this time, Icesinithol actually going to be switching to a different race, and he will be playing as the Imperial Guard this game. He'll be playing as the Lord Commissar, slightly tanky melee hero who also kind of doubles as a support hero. So, quite a switch. Now, Division B is, I mean, of course, we do say that Division B it is supposed to be the lower tier of players than Division A. However, I mean, I'm sure these days, these players could probably mop the floor with me. They're in practice. So I'm just interested to see Icesinithol actually play a different race than what he was playing in the last games, especially Imperial Guard, although there are people who do complain about something called IG abuse. At least for newer players, I do think of Imperial Guard as being kind of hard to pick up. They can be kind of punishing if you don't have some of that high-level micro. Even here, like the Sentinel, although the Sentinel doesn't die there or take too much damage, I think the Sentinel got a little too close there, and I think it's mostly just lucky that in this situation there wasn't a whole lot of punishment to it. Now, this time he's choosing to voluntarily get so close because he wants to destroy the cover that the Scouts have. Scouts will just find a new set of cover. And interesting to see the triple Scout build for Icesinithol. Just kidding, I meant for LOCALgHOST. So, Triple Scout build does give you a lot of map control, gives you also a lot of utility, because you can upgrade with shotguns. Shotguns could help to control that can help you to control the Lord Commissar. You can upgrade to get a Sergeant, which gives you grenades. Grenades give you retreat wiping potential. So there are a lot of like utility you get out of Scouts, but what you don't get out of the Scouts is a lot of actual head-to-head fighting prowess. And that's kind of what he gives up by not getting a Tactical Marine squad, which I do personally find a little bit surprising. I would describe this as an atypical build for the Force Commander against Imperial Guard. That would be my opinion. I'm not saying it can't work. I do believe it can, but I do think it's going to be harder to play this out. It needs to play it out a lot more indirectly. Might need to get some infiltration on some of those Scouts. Actually choosing to put a sniper rifle on one of them. Sniper rifle, not so great against the Guardsman, but can put some pressure on the Sentinel. No attempt to kill the Force Commander on retreat. We did have a ground pound. I actually wonder if force melee from the Guardsman squads as well as the ground pound from the Sentinel, I actually feel like that might have been able to have a chance of taking the Force Commander in retreat, and then just chasing after with range fire afterward. So full weapon upgrades on the Scouts. Now, shotguns does increase Scout damage by quite a bit. And in some ways that can make them a little bit better at fighting, but they're still not going to have like the raw like slugfest potential, whatever slugfest potential even means, that a Tactical Marine squad would have. Basically the combination of both the tankiness that Tactical Marines provide as well as their damage output. Shotguns give you that damage output, just like you would with Tactical Marines, but you still don't have the tankiness. So these Shotgun Scouts would still be very much in trouble if they get focused down too much by the Sentinel at range. And realistically, as long as the Sentinel's being microed properly with some of that high-level micro, there shouldn't be much of a reason why the Scouts should really be able to catch up to it, to do any significant damage to the Sentinel with their shotguns. The exception to that is if we do see these Shotgun Scouts upgraded with Sergeants, and I would almost like to see him do that. I actually don't feel that these Shotgun Scouts are really doing that well at the moment. In fact, at the moment, I don't feel that the Triple Scout build is actually doing that well. Because this time, it's actually Icesinithol really forcing his will, just running around the map and taking control of it, although perhaps not quite as much as LOCALgHOST did in those past games. He did give up both of the contested powers, but we also saw, like in that last game, where LOCALgHOST perhaps having a little bit of an overemphasis on the power, and that not necessarily always being something that really is even that helpful. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I think this is a farce. I think Icesinithol has the far superior range blob. Sentinel, as well as even the Guardsmen themselves, can basically just chase down the army from LOCALgHOST. Any bleed that happens should be what a beautiful old reliable 2. Hits all 3 scout squads. Those were not scout squads, and forces them all to retreat. Force Commander, I mean, he shouldn't do anything else here. There's nothing else he can do, and he even risks getting killed. Catachan Devils think about force melee, but they aren't quite able to capitalize on it. This is now real rough, because now this finally means we're actually going to see Icesinithol actually get an early game generator bash. Now, LOCALgHOST is in Tier 2, but I almost feel like these early Tier 2 rushes that are not exactly working out, almost kind of like the story of this series, at the very least, this game and last game. Multi-laser turret. this should be a full generator bash. I really don't see Local Ghost having a way of stopping this. There is a Razorback coming, but I think the full farm should be taken out. I want to see the guardsmen focus fire the generators. We need some of that high-level micro Icesinithol. We need all these units targeting. Like, at this point, I say ignore the scouts for a moment and focus all on the generators. Okay, it will be the multi-laser turret, just kind of working on it. I'm a little disappointed, though, that he's not quite committing to finishing off that generator farm. I mean, eventually, yes, he'll win against the shotgun scouts. Does look like slowly but surely he will bash these generators as well. Multi-laser turret should finish off both of the generators. But if there's any response to the turret, or the multi-laser turret, I think the power node will stay up. Whereas I think if he had just focus fired with the guardsman, the sentinel, I think that should be, this should be like the entire power farm just gone. So Razorback is finally out. Okay, so temporarily Icesinithol does have to back up. He doesn't have anything at the moment that can deal with the Razorback, but I don't think he's going to have too much trouble transitioning into Tier 2 to get some things that will deal with him. I mean, one thing, obviously, is just get the Sentinel Missile Launcher. Sentinel Missile Launcher will, even though it shouldn't be enough to threaten to kill the Razorback, but, I mean, it's just enough that if he shoots the Sentinel, if he shoots the Razorback with a Missile Launcher from the Sentinel, Razorback just needs to start backing up. Could also see Sergeant put on the Catachan Devils with a Melt-A-Gun. Between those two, that at least prevents the Razorback from really having free reign. However, it does look like... Okay, this multi-laser turret actually still going. Just wanted to check up on that. Razorback... Ooh, Sentinel actually could be in trouble with this position. Sniper Scout will set up. Sentinel is starting to get low and still going to be taking some Razorback shots. The Razorback actually could chase after this. And actually just gets the kill anyway. Kind of put the Sentinel in a corner there. That was really, really unfortunate. I don't think it should ever just been like in this corner by itself. And also really slow by Local Ghost, not executing this generator bash just a little bit faster. I also don't like the riskier positioning on the Razorback. I think the Razorback should, if anything, be more positioned over here. At the moment, I guess it doesn't technically matter since Icesinithol still doesn't really have a sufficient answer. But, I mean, still, like, if I'm Local Ghost, I want to be thinking, like, I don't know just exactly how far ahead I am in tech. And even if I do have the tech advantage, I still want to position in safe ways. We even see here, Razorback needs to drive through the Catachan Devils, and Catachan Devils actually willing to part the seas there. That's very, very nice of them. It's one of the few niceties they've learned in the jungles of Catachan. Scouts getting out. I thought they were getting out to use a shotgun blast, but that didn't happen for some reason. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if that was just a little bit of a micro mistake or... I don't know. Devastator Marines. Ooh, no, Devastator Marines. Back up, back up. That was a little bit rough. Move those Devastator Marines up just a little too far forward. They will be losing 2 of their models. What are the chances that all 3 get killed? I don't think so. But I wonder if we also will see... We already see the Power Sword. Ooh, will they finish off the Razorback? Alright, I don't think they will. I wonder if we will see Bionic Eye for the Commissar.
We must reverse the course of the battle.
Contested power nodes have been held by Local Ghost for pretty much the entire game.
The enemy is capturing one of our
So he does have a bit of a power lead for whatever that's worth. Also has the higher requisition income, lower upkeep. Lost a scout squad somewhere and I missed that. And I think he lost one of the shotgun scouts. So Dreadnought will come out on the field. And Local Ghost does still have the double scouts to support these vehicles with repairs. Icesinithol is going to need something more than what he has to deal with both the Dreadnought and the Razorback. He's so low on power at the moment, at least banked power. His income isn't so bad. Shouldn't be too hard for him to get a heavy weapon team if he does choose to get that. Other option could be melt the stormtroopers, and I think there's a good argument for that too. Especially, I think the... Oh, what happened? What happened? Did he just lose the scout squad? Oh, he did lose the scout squad. That is rough. And that will also be the Razorback going down. So even with all those losses that LOCALgHOST takes in that engagement, Dreadnought is still enough to just kind of scare Icesinithol off the field, and he will actually be choosing to go for the Stormtroopers. And what's really good about that is that he's actually wiped both of the shotgun scout squads. I mean, it wouldn't be too hard for this one to upgrade to shotgun, well, not shotguns, I mean to a sergeant as well for the detection. But I mean, what I might want to see out of the Stormtroopers is to see if he can keep them a secret until he can uncloak and throw a melt-a-bomb on the Dreadnought. And this is all assuming he's going the anti-armor kit, which indeed he is. Because if he can keep it a secret, which it looks like he might not, but if he can keep it a secret, he would be able to sneak up on the Dreadnought pretty easily. Alright, not even bothering to keep it a secret. He's just going to bully LOCALgHOST with the bigger army that he has. Dreadnought at the moment is isolated. Force Commander is also potentially in trouble. He could go down and retreat. I think it's... Oh, is he going to go? Only need one melee hit from the Ogrins. I don't even think they needed the melee. They got their range damage. So that will be the Force Commander downed. You know what? I don't think he even needs the element of surprise anymore. I'm actually surprised he's not going for this Dreadnought. I feel like with the positioning where the Ogrins are, if he moves the Stormtroopers in, I think he should be able to finish off the Dreadnought. He's just not looking for that at the moment. Tactical Marines, I don't even know what they were trying to get into. Where's the Melt-a-Bomb? Melt-a-Bomb comes in, but they get a little too close, get hit by the Emperor's Fist. A little bit of a misplay there by Icesinithol, but overall, things, just numerically and positionally, things are definitely still favoring him. Emperor's Fist is on cooldown, so now it can't even be used against the Ogre. This is 100% a dead Dreadnought. This is a very strong position for Icesinithol. He does need to get back out on the field, take back control of the victory points, but LOCALgHOST is really going to be hurting in terms of an army. He needs to rebuild. He needs to buy back his Force Commander. Goes for the buyback. He still needs more units. Infiltrated scouts looking for a grenade on these blob capping guardsmen. Grenade will be thrown. Let's see if we see the response. Very good. No value on that grenade whatsoever. And then scouts lose massively to guardsmen. Devastator Marine Squad wasn't able to get its value because its range was shortened by the Commissar Flare. I don't know if this Thunderhammer Force Commander is also having enough of an impact either. Like, yes, that looks cool. That special attack does get, I mean, it does get guardsman models. Kraken bolts go in. I don't think that actually does anything to Ogrins. One of these Guardian squads could and should break off to capture this victory point. I do like the bashing with the Catachans and the Melta Stormtroopers, though. They should continue to work on that. Catachans and Melta Stormtroopers should move over to the generator farm, do more of a generator bash. I don't like the Tier 3 by LOCALgHOST. Ogrins get into melee yet again, and I think this is all still without... Yeah, no Bionic Eye. Though we do see Stubbornness. This is a tanking war gear for the Commissar. Tanking and damage, actually. Alright, Force Commander in here. Does end up just being a retreat from the Ogrins. Don't want to risk losing any models. Those Ogrin models are expensive. And Icesinithol wants to go into Tier 3. And the Tier 3, going into Tier 3 for Icesinithol is very reasonable, more so than LOCALgHOST doing it. Okay, we do actually see some of that bashing by the Stormtroopers. As an anti-vehicle unit, they are also just pretty inherently good at bashing generators. Here, though, I think they want to see if they can get out of here. They will lose one model to the Force Commander. Not too surprising. Commissar, oh, what are you doing there? Now, one of the things I think Icesinithol does need to be careful about is not getting too greedy, looking for the cap on LOCALgHOST natural. The terrain that you have to walk around in order to get a decap on your opponent's natural does make it a bit difficult on this map to get that consistently. And if you're going to do it, really needs to be more in a situation where you really have a clear opportunity, I think. Force Commander, as much as he's going to get a special attack there, he also really is getting kited pretty hard. And there are also just a few times when I wonder, could we even see him possibly go down? Old Reliable, not really a good Old Reliable that time. Like, that was like just using Old Reliable on cooldown as opposed to actually using it purposefully. And it's like now, if there's actually something like Devastator Marines that are set up and he wants to unset them up, he won't have Old Reliable ready for something like that. Although it looks like he's content to just use his Commissar Flares as his counter to the Devastator Marines. Gotta remember, though, that Commissar Flare, your weapons still work, or the weapons of squads hit by the Commissar Flares still work, it's just that their range is shortened. So if you move close enough, eventually you will get back into the Devastator's firing arc. Alright, does feel like a long game, this last one. Icesinithol certainly... This series is definitely going very, very differently from how it started. And LOCALgHOST, yet again, with that... holding so many of those resources, yeah, it had to be a Land Raider Redeemer with what he was going for. I mean, with these blind Tier 3 purchases, I feel a lot better about what Icesinithol is getting. Now, first of all, with LOCALgHOST only having the 3 squads... He has no map presence, so he's already been giving up a lot of the map. He's only getting it back just now because Icesinithol was committing hard to the Generator Bash. And I think what Icesinithol really wants out of these Generator Bashes is he really wants to make sure he has enough red to use the Commissar Flare in a lot of those important engagements. And as far as blind Tier 3 purchases, I think the Leman Russ is actually quite a bit better than the Land Raider Redeemer. I think there are plenty of things that can deal with that Land Raider Redeemer. Obviously, the Leman Russ. Melt of Stormtroopers. Actually going to be upgrading with an Executioner. Of course, that Executioner going to be great against, I mean, just all of the infantry. Can still do AV damage, but the range is a little bit shorter than the Vanquisher Cannon. We see how relatively ineffective it is against a single target here, especially a tanky one like the Force Commander. I mean, I guess eventually it's slowly doing damage. Force Commander looking for a cap on Icesinithol's power. At this time in the game, I don't think that means very much. I think it's more just about one of these players looking for a decisive fight win. Oh no! The Devastator Marines! Why did he stop chasing? He 100% could have killed the Devastator Marines. And I don't think there is ever a world where he would have gotten the Force Commander. So, Land Raider Redeemer will be coming out on the field, but there's so much potential damage against it between Melt of Stormtroopers, Leman Russ, Ogrins. And are there units inside this Land Raider Redeemer? Okay, Ogrins start charging in. I mean, we see the Land Raider Redeemer is losing this fight handily. Like, if it doesn't have any actual support, where are the scouts? Are they inside? They must be inside. They need to get out and repair. This is a Land Raider Redeemer that's going to go down. They finally get out and repair. Bunker is being called down. I don't know what the deal is with that bunker. I guess maybe it was... I don't know if that was literally just to, like, try to path block the Land Raider Redeemer. Ogrins do nearly get wiped in retreat, but are pretty lucky to get out of there alive. Leman Russ with the Executioner, not even really supposed to be the anti-vehicle Leman Russ, but it does do plasma cannon damage, so it can work. Although we did see it needed to get very close, but, I mean, it's not like the Land Raider Redeemer has long range. Land Raider Redeemer needs to get pretty close as well. Multi-Melta, Heavy Flamers. Okay, this is Icesinithol winning this series. Like, I mean, obviously victory points haven't ticked all the way down yet. There's no way LOCALgHOST gets back into this one. It's interesting. I feel like in other games that I've cast of LOCALgHOST, I feel like he played quite a lot better in a lot of those other series than he did in this one. Really strange, just teching choices in this series. So Icesinithol able to take it in the end as we slowly watch things count down. Commissar was killed trying to get the triple cap. Sniper scouts will come out. They will throw a grenade. Will we see the dodge on the grenade? Nope. I guess those guardsmen actually... Did they get out of there alive? Guardsman Commissar actually does have still about 25 hit points. So yeah, he's just fine. He doesn't need the double cap. Or he doesn't need the triple cap, I mean. Okay. And that will be the end of our series. It will go in favor of Icesinithol, so congratulations to him. I do hope you enjoyed it. Have a good night.